Yo, what is up, fam? It's your boy Legend, and I am back with another video. You already know what this is just by looking at the thumbnail. What if that you guys haven't seen in almost a year? What if Naruto was born early and fell in love with Kushina and Mikoto? If you guys enjoy this, what if? Make sure to hit that like button, subscribe while at it. Like goal for the videos, 5 likes as usual. But without further ado, let's just get into this intro so we can start this what if.
Give me space, I'm protective. My adrenaline spikes when I'm threatened. And if you stay in my way, I'm aggressive. Cause when there's no exit, I'll kill when I'm desperate.
3 months had passed since the foundations of the Uzumaki compound were laid, and already it stood as a rising monument in the western district of Konoha, 3/4 of the way complete, humming with quiet pride. The bright red walls, reinforced with advanced sealing techniques, gleamed beneath the sun, bearing the unmistakable spiral crest of the Uzumaki clan. Craftsmen, engineers, and seal masters rotated in shifts, building not just a structure but a legacy resurrected from near extinction. The compound's very existence had stirred the stagnant waters of Konoha's internal politics. At first, few noticed the construction, but as the weeks dragged on, as the crimson walls grew higher and chakra seal barriers flickered faintly in the dusk, whispers turned to accusations. Sarutobi Hiruzen, the third Hokage, found himself enduring more and more confrontational council meetings. Seated at the head of the council chambers, draped in his ceremonial Hokage robes, Sarutobi looked every bit the immovable force he had once been in his youth. The civilian council buzzed with tension, and among the shinobi, two voices rose above the rest. Kagami Uchiha, the head of the Uchiha clan, his dark hair slicked back and eyes narrowed with quiet disdain, spoke with rigid restraint. Beside him, Shibi Hyuga, a man of cold posture and distant eyes, nodded occasionally, arms folded within the long sleeves of his pale clan robes. This Uzumaki compound, Kagami began, his tone clipped. We find it concerning that village funds are being funneled into one family's estate, regardless of history. The funds could have gone towards rebuilding the eastern training grounds or fortifying the northern wall. Sarutobi exhaled through his nose, already prepared for this argument. The village hasn't spent a single ryo on the compound. Naruto Uzumaki is funding the entire construction himself with gold and resources he received from the ruins of his home village in Uzu. Danzo Shimura's voice broke through the grumblings. Still, Hokage-sama, those resources could be redistributed. He is one boy. The village is many. The old warhawk's single exposed eye was as calculating as ever, his tone suggesting nothing but self-interest cloaked in false diplomacy. Sarutobi fixed him with a pointed gaze. The Uzumaki have contributed more to this village than your words give them credit for, Danzo, the Hokage said, voice sharp. The very uniforms our shinobi wear bear their crest. The protective seals around this village, Uzumaki design. Naruto himself has paid every tax and labor fee requested without question. Shibi Hyuga spoke, his voice even colder than before. Symbol or not, we believe such public construction establishes dangerous precedents. Favoritism breeds resentment. Sarutobi leaned forward slightly. No one spoke of favoritism when the Uchiha had an entire district constructed, nor when the Hyuga expanded their estate last year. Naruto has asked for nothing. He's building a home, not a throne. Murmurs swept the chambers. Sarutobi's words were calm, but steel lined each one. If you're truly worried about funding, he added, then perhaps the Civilian Council can submit a petition to reduce their stipends and redirect the funds. Until then, Naruto's money is his own. None could refute him. They had tried before. Every time, the same truth silenced them. Still, Sarutobi could feel it beneath the surface of policy and argument. It was not about money. It was about control. The last of a broken clan, orphaned and experimented on, now rising with gold, with influence, with allies. And they feared it, feared him. Elsewhere, within the rising Uzumaki compound, Naruto sat quietly in the unfinished main hall, surrounded by sealing scrolls, open ink pots, and half-finished tags. The room had no doors yet, only archways, and warm sunlight filtered in through paperless windows. The air smelled of wood shavings and fresh lacquer. Through 3/4 complete, the compound already pulsed with chakra, a living, growing monument, and at its heart sat a boy, tracing sigils onto parchment with slow, methodical care. Naruto's brow furrowed in concentration, his brush dipping just lightly into the ink. Dozens of sealed drafts lined the floor in neat rows, practice strokes. Ink marks, formulas he hadn't dared activate yet. His fingers were stained with black and red ink. His handwriting still shook slightly in the curves, but it was getting better. He whispered each stroke as he made it, memorizing the formula. Bind, anchor, suppress, reinforce. There was a rhythm to sealing, a language all its own, and Naruto was determined to learn it. His hand trembled slightly as he finished a containment seal. He sighed. It wasn't perfect, but it was better than yesterday. A voice broke his focus. You're working hard again, huh? Naruto turned his head and smiled faintly. Mikoto Uchiha stood in the archway, arms folded, dressed in a simple dark blouse and slacks. No Anbu armor, no mask. Just her off-duty and out of her clan's suffocating shadow. Gotta earn the family name somehow, Naruto replied, placing the brush down. I'm not even good at this yet. You're getting there. She walked in, brushing some dust off the edge of the pillar as she passed it. Most people wouldn't even try. Naruto looked down at his ink-stained hands. Trying's all I've got, really. Mikoto sat down beside him on the floor, legs crossed. For a moment, they just sat in silence, the scent of ink and fresh wood between them. Naruto had always found Mikoto easy to talk to. She was calm, soft-spoken, and seemed to understand him without him needing to explain every little thing. He'd run into her several times over the past 3 months, at markets, on rooftops, sometimes in the forest just outside the compound. He never tried to push conversation, but she always stopped and spoke to him like she wanted to. He appreciated that. Still, he didn't know how to act around her, or anyone. So, Mikoto began, picking up on his failed seal tags. I heard from my mother that my father tried to fight the compound again in the council meeting today. Naruto nodded, avoiding her eyes. Yeah, I figured he would. You okay? I'm fine, he shrugged. They're just mad they can't control me. They're afraid of you, Naruto. Of your name. Of what you might become. He didn't respond at first. Then he glanced at her. Do you think I should have built it somewhere else? No. Her voice was firm. It belongs here. You belong here. There was a flicker of emotion in her eyes. He didn't know what it meant, and he didn't want to assume, so he changed the subject. You'll be marrying Fugaku soon, right? He asked, eyes fixed on the drying tag. Mikoto stiffened, then let out a quiet breath. 4 months. You like him? She hesitated. No. That surprised him. I've known him since we were kids. He's arrogant, obsessive, loyal to the clan, not people. I don't want to marry someone like that. Then why? Politics, she said bitterly. Marriage alliances. The elders think he'll lead the clan soon. It'll look better if I'm at his side. Naruto frowned. That's messed up. Welcome to the Uchiha. She smiled sadly. He tried to smile back, but it came out crooked. Mikoto reached out and gently brushed some ink off his cheek. Naruto blinked, surprised. You've got a little something right here, she teased. Oh, thanks. Their eyes met for a moment too long. Mikoto looked away first, clearing her throat. You still like Kushina, don't you? Naruto froze. I mean, she's beautiful, strong, loyal. I get it. Mikoto's voice was softer now. But you should know something. What's that? She and Minato aren't together anymore. Naruto's chest tightened. They're not? No. She paused. It ended badly. Minato isn't who people think he is. What do you mean? But Mikoto shook her head. It's not my place to say. Just don't keep your heart in the dark thinking it's hopeless. Naruto looked down at his scrolls, his mind spinning. He spent months keeping his distance, burying his feelings, trying to respect what he thought was an ongoing relationship. Now everything felt uncertain again. Mikoto stood dusting off her pants. Anyways, I just wanted to check on you. Thanks, Mikoto. She smiled faintly, but there was a sadness in her expression. I hope you finish this place soon. It feels more like home than anywhere else. Naruto watched her leave, the soft pad of her sandals echoing through the hall. He felt something heavy settle in his chest. Not pain, not joy, just weight. The Uzumaki compound was 3/4 of the way done, but his heart still under construction. The sky hung low with streaks of violet and deep gold as twilight settled across the hidden leaf. In the quiet corners of the Uchiha compound, Mikoto sat alone, knees folded beneath her on a woven mat, facing an incense burner that had long since gone cold. The air smelled faintly of sandalwood and fading memories. Her hands rested loosely on her lap, but her fingers betrayed her stillness, twitching slightly with every heartbeat. She couldn't bring herself to light the incense again. The ritual no longer gave her peace. Instead, it reminded her of choices already made. A political marriage, a clan duty, a promise she hadn't spoken but had allowed to happen. And somewhere far from her thoughts and her finely embroidered kimono, there was a boy with a bruised heart and ink-stained fingers who had never once asked for anything. He had looked at her, not with expectation, but with understanding. She should not have looked back. Naruto grunted as he drove himself through another set of pull-ups on a thick branch overhead. His arms trembled, core tight, sweat rolling down his back and temple. Focus, he told himself. Don't think, just move. Training had always been a refuge, not because he loved it, but because it dulled everything else. The thoughts, The feelings, the guilt, especially now, especially after realizing that the distance he put between himself and Kushina had been built on a false premise. She hadn't still been with Minato. They weren't together. They hadn't been for a long time. And now he couldn't stop wondering, what if he said something earlier? What if he hadn't convinced himself that his feelings were wrong, impossible, and selfish? What if he hadn't run away? He dropped to the ground, wiping sweat from his brow with a harsh swipe of his forearm. The ache in the muscles was a welcome distraction. His breath came fast and shallow. He dropped for sit-ups, next clenching his teeth. 1, 2, 3. You gonna keep pretending you don't see me? Naruto froze mid-motion. Kushina stood a few feet away, arms folded beneath her chest. Her expression unreadable. Red hair fell over her shoulders in waves, swaying gently in the wind. Taller than him now, 3 full inches. And she always managed to make him feel like he was still that stupid, flustered boy around her, even though so much had changed. He sat up slowly, wiping his face. How long have you been there? Long enough, she said. Long enough to see that you're trying to outrun something that isn't physical. He gave a dry, humorous laugh and looked away. Maybe. Don't maybe me, Naruto. Her voice sharpened just slightly. You've been avoiding me for months. You saw me around the village. You looked at me, but you never came to say anything. Not even hi. I didn't mean to avoid you, he said quickly. Kushina stepped closer, arms still crossed. Then why didn't you? Naruto opened his mouth, but nothing came out. His gaze dropped to the dirt. It's complicated. It always is with you, she muttered. You vanish, you train like you're trying to break your body in half, and you act like I don't exist. I never. Yes, you did, she snapped, voice rising, not with anger but with frustration. You did, Naruto. And I want to know why. I deserve to know. Naruto rubbed the back of his neck, his hand trembling just slightly. I thought you were still with Minato. Kushina's expression froze. She said nothing. I thought... He swallowed, eyes tight. I thought I didn't have a right to feel anything about you. Not anymore. Her voice was low. And what do you feel now? He looked up at her sharply, heart slamming in his chest. What? Kushina stepped even closer. Her height cast a faint shadow over him, and he could smell the faint traces of shampoo and earth on her skin. I'm not an idiot, Naruto. I know something changed, and I want to hear it from you. Do you still care about me? He stepped back instinctively, muscles tense. Of course I care. But what? She pressed. What are you so scared of saying? I don't want to screw things up, okay? He blurted, stepping back again. I've been trying not to feel anything. I was trying, but then Mikoto... His words trailed off, face contorting in a mix of guilt and confusion. Kushina's eyes narrowed slightly. Mikoto? I didn't mean for it to happen, he said quickly. It's nothing serious, just you avoided me because of her. Her voice cracked faintly, not from rage, but from something that sounded like betrayal. Naruto panicked, shaking his head. No, I mean, not like that. It's just, she's easy to talk to. And when I was trying to suppress what I felt for you, being around her made it easier. That's all. I didn't plan anything. Kushina stepped closer again. So you did feel something for me. Naruto's breath caught in his throat. Don't lie to me. she said, her voice firm now. You've been lying to yourself for months, so stop lying to me. Naruto looked at her, as in really looked at her. The way her eyes trembled, the tension in her shoulders, the quiet pain in her voice. He whispered, but the rest wouldn't come out. You owe me an answer, Kushina said. After everything, I need to know if you still care, if I meant anything to you, or if I was just some mistake you buried because it hurt too much. Naruto took a step back, then another. Her presence, her closeness, the intensity in her voice, it all surged into a wave of pressure too big to bear. I don't know, he shouted finally. I don't know what I feel anymore. Kushina's eyes widened, lips parting. I tried not to feel it, okay? He choked. I tried to move on. I tried to find something simpler, something safer, but it didn't work. And now I feel guilty for even thinking about you that way again. After everything, after pushing you away, and now Mikoto's getting married in 4 months, and I don't know what the hell I'm even doing anymore. She didn't speak. She just stared at him. And for the first time, she looked like she wasn't sure if she should be angry or just heartbroken. I thought you didn't want me, he said, voice breaking. I thought you were happy with Minato, and then I found out you weren't, and now everything's twisted and backwards, and I don't even know who I'm allowed to love anymore. Kushina's expression cracked. You're not allowed to love me? That's not what He shook his head rapidly, eyes wet with confusion. I don't know what I even mean anymore. She stepped forward again, and that was it. Naruto turned and bolted. Naruto! He didn't stop. He couldn't. His heart thundered in his ears as he tore through the forest, branches whipping past, the taste of guilt and fear bitter in his throat. He didn't know where he was going. He just needed to be anywhere but there. Back in the clearing, Kushina stood rooted in place, staring at the spot that he left behind. Her hands trembled. Her voice was low and hollow as she whispered, You still feel it, don't you? But there was no one left to answer her. Naruto was gone. His footsteps faded into a dense thicket, swallowed by the wind and rustle of branches. Kushina didn't chase him. She couldn't. Her legs refused to move. Her throat tight with a scream that wouldn't come out. His eyes, before he turned, conflicted, wounded, scared, haunted her. Then like a wave of collapsing in on itself, she dropped. Her knees hit the ground hard, the dirt grinding into her skin, but she barely noticed. Her fingers curled into fists, nails digging into her palms, and hair fell like a curtain around her face as tears began to fall, quietly without a sound, as though even her grief had been silenced. He'd run, not just from the moment, not just from her, but from everything they'd ever said to each other. The space he left behind felt like a wound. But what hurt worse, what made her chest ache and her stomach twist, was the other realization taking shape in her mind. Mikoto. Mikoto, who had been her friend. Mikoto, who had looked her in the eye and said she wanted nothing from Naruto but friendship. Mikoto, who now stood closer to him than Kushina ever had. She'd seen the signs, ignored the unease. She'd wanted to believe they could all remain unchanged, even as the ground shifted beneath them. But now everything was different. Kushina rose slowly, her body trembling with a storm of emotions. Anger burned away the last traces of helplessness. Her tears had dried, but the pain hadn't. It had simply morphed into fury. Without another thought, she turned and made her way to the Uchiha compound. The sun dipped below the rooftops, leaving the village bathed in the deep hues of purple and gray. Lanterns flickered to life as she walked, but she saw none of them. She was a shadow, moving with purpose, fire crackling beneath her skin. Every step towards Mikoto House added weight to her chest, her fury sharpening into something volatile and bright. When she reached the door, she didn't hesitate. Her fist slammed into it once, twice, and then pushed it open. Mikoto was inside, arranging scrolls on the low table. She turned to the noise, surprise flashing across her face. "Kushina, what are you? You lied to me," Kushina said, stepping inside and letting the door slide shut behind her with a hard click. Mikoto straightened, worried. "What are you talking about?" "You know what I'm talking about," Kushina barked. "Don't act innocent. You've been spending time with Naruto behind my back." Mikoto's brows furrowed, then rose as she understood. Her expression darkened, mouth pressed into a line. "Is that what this is about?" Kushina's eyes were already glassy with tears again, but her voice cut like steel. "You betrayed me." "I didn't betray anyone," Mikoto said coolly. "You don't get to be angry now just because you suddenly started caring." "Suddenly?" Kushina shouted. "Do you have any idea how hard it was for me to admit that I liked him after everything with Minato? After pushing Naruto away for so long? It wasn't easy." "Then maybe you should have said something," Mikoto snapped, stepping forward. "But you didn't. You kept pretending he didn't matter until he stopped chasing you. That's not my fault." "I was confused," Kushina hissed. "I didn't know how to deal with it. And now you're just, what, stealing him?" Mikoto's voice was colder than ever. "I didn't steal anyone. Naruto came to me. He was hurting. He needed someone, and you weren't there." Kushina's fist clenched. "I was trying to figure things out. And I was there when he stopped waiting," Mikoto yelled back. "You ignored him for months, and now you're mad that I didn't?" "I trusted you, Mikoto," Kushina shouted, her voice cracking. "You knew how I felt, and you went after him anyway. And you never once told him how you felt," Mikoto said, biting off the words. "You don't get to claim him like that. He's not yours." The silence that followed was thick, suffocating. The paper lantern flickered between them, casting dancing shadows on their tense and furious faces. Kushina took a shaky breath. "I never thought you'd stab me in the back. And I never thought you'd be so selfish," Mikoto replied, her tone suddenly softer, but no less sharp. "You've only started caring when he wasn't yours anymore." Kushina flinched. Mikoto's eyes glinted, not cruelly, but with the sting of hurt pride. "You didn't love him when he was chasing after you. You only loved the attention. The moment he turned away, then you started feeling something." "That's not true," Kushina said, but her voice trembled. "Then why did you never tell him?" Mikoto pressed. "Why did you wait?" "Because I was scared," Kushina whispered. "Because I didn't know. I didn't want to get hurt again. Because I thought he'd always be there." Mikoto looked away for the first time. Silence stretched again, broken only by the flicker of the lantern and the distant chirp of crickets outside. The tension in the air was a rope pulled tight, one tug away from snapping. When their eyes met again, neither spoke. The heat between them was no longer just anger. It was heartbreak, betrayal, and fear, all tangled together. They stood across from each other, breathing hard, eyes locked in a quiet war. Neither of them knew how to win. Both of them wanted Naruto. Both of them had hurt him. And now they had hurt each other too. Kushina took a step back toward the door. Her voice was low and raw. "Don't think this is over." Mikoto didn't respond. She just watched her go, her expression unreadable. The door slid shut behind Kushina, and the room fell silent. They were no longer friends. Not in this moment. And as the night deepened over Konoha, two girls stood on opposite ends of something broken, held together only by a fragile, painful thread of a boy neither of them could forget. But guys, I'm going to end it off right here. If you guys enjoyed the video, make sure you hit that like button. Subscribe while you at it. Remember, the like goal for the video is going to be 5 likes. But without further ado, I am out, and I will see you guys in the next one. Stay blessed, y'all.